we looking at?
Stupid battle droids, get out of the way! Hello there. This is General Grievous, and you are watching Southern Comic Geek.
Roger, roger.
What's up, YouTube? Southern Comic Geek coming to you with a new comic book day haul video. If you have not already done so while all of those intros have played, go ahead and smash that like button, hit the subscribe button, as well as the bell notification, so when videos like this drop ever so randomly, you are one of the first people to know and can make the conscious decision as to whether or not to watch it now or later. As long as you watch it, we appreciate you. Appreciating these people right here is some of our channel members. That's right, some of our channel members already jumping in the chat and tailgating a little bit. We got Sleeping Collectibles. We got Papa Willie. What's up? What's up? Also, Promiscuous Time Traveler, going back or forward in time, we don't know. As well as Soul Twice, What to Do, Pikachu. Let's see. I wasn't going to like this video, but then I saw it. That might make you actually thumbs down this video, actually. But in talking about people that we appreciate, the ever-growing list of channel members and Patreon members. If you are interested in joining these or one of these groups, the links are in the description below, and there are many benefits associated with the various groups of which you can check that out. One of the benefits, or not the least of which, is the giveaway. So this month, actually tomorrow, this was the giveaway for last month that I'm going to be doing tomorrow, is Ultimate Fallout #4 second print, the A cover as well as the B cover. Both are 9/4s and have the Miles Morales label up there, and going to be giving them away. Now, giving away some bigger books in the past, chose to do 2 books this time. So the way we're going to do that is we're going to have one wheel for the channel members, whether you're YouTube or Patreon, either way, you'll be on that one. And then you'll have the Super Chat one. So for every $1 Super Chat somebody gave away last month is what's got them on this wheel. And so in theory, because some of the Patreon or YouTube channel members have also done Super Chats, it could be one person win them both. But more than likely, statistically speaking, it's probably going to be 2 separate people. Having said that, we're going to spin the wheel. The channel member will get the first pick as to which one they want, and then the Super Chat winner will get the other one. So that is how we are going to do that this month. And so, yeah, did want to show this while I was thinking about it, too, before we get into the new comic books. Oh, crap. Why did Instagram change over here? Let me show this. I got to this guy's thing. So I found this out, and I just ordered my own self one. So if you're familiar with the channel exclusive, this book right here, there was Power Ninja Tunes. It's a one-shot, very limited number. This cover right here is actually the most limited number, and this is available to you at the low price of $15 plus shipping. Let me know if you're interested over on Instagram. So but there were several other covers, and so this guy did this customizable pop there, and of the main character, and then he did one of the backgrounds of one of the other covers there. So I got him to, or he's going to be doing one for my cover on the back there instead of that one. So pretty cool. Ordered it, but it's BigJ.Customs if you're interested. I'm going to be reposting it later on Instagram, but if you're interested in picking one of those up, it's pretty cool, especially if you collect pops. Might be your thing. So let's get into some new comic book day stuff and new to me comic book day, and we'll start with those. So I got this on a Whatnot sale from Elvine's Comics. Elvine, or Christian, sells on Instagram. He started selling on Whatnot as well, but probably more known for his Instagram sales. And he is also, or has been in the past, a person that I've interviewed regarding his collection of Valiant comics. So this is the book that I bought from him, which is Batman 24, This is the New York Comic Con exclusive from 2013, and this is an homage to Tech 27 and Batman's first appearance. And Greg Capullo did the cover there, but it was one of his buy it nows, which you can do on Whatnot. I've never done buy it now on Whatnot. Dang, Papa Wheelie slinging that money. Appreciate you, Papa Wheelie, for not only slinging that money and being a channel member, but Papa's hitting it rich, man. Won a $1,100 pop out of $87. So are you going to resell that pop? Or are you going to keep it in your collection? Hoarder's Hide, what's going on? Hoarder's Hide has a video airing. Was it Saturday? That's the video with you and Steve from Birch family. You can let me know in the chat. I'll let everybody else know in the chat, but I think it's Saturday that video airs. But this is the what I picked up from Elvine. And then also I was on Creamer Cash Comics. So Amber over at Creamer Cash Comics puts up on an auction now. I think it's only on Tuesday nights. I might be wrong about that, but she also owns a comic book store in Huntsville, Alabama, and that I've been to several times when I was up there. So one of the sellers was giving away this the other night, which is a Batman Zero signed by Graham Nolan right there. So I had the comic, but I did not have one that was signed by Graham Nolan. As a matter of fact, I think this might be my only Graham Nolan signature. And for those Batman aficionados out there, you know that Graham Nolan is probably best known for being one of the co-creators of Bane, one of the arch nemesis of Batman. Well, there you go. Hoarder's Hide's got that interview with Steve. That's going to be at 10 a.m. Eastern time Saturday. So go over there and check that out. So talking about New Comic Book Day, we've got Adrian APM, one of the channel and Patreon members, up in the chat, dropping the $1.49 super sticker. He as well has an auction over on his channel on Saturday night. So if you're looking to get some books, especially he probably has more bigger books than I do on my auction that I do on Saturday afternoon at 1 p.m. Central Time. But so it just depends on your flavor, you know. But I got some from him that are on the way to me now as we speak. What's going on, Who Dat, my neighbor to the south of me? How are you doing? Are you still planning on going to Fan Expo? Because I'm kind of making tentative plans now. I kind of thought to go to MegaCon, and then it kind of crept up on me, and I'm like, But now I hear that a lot of people are bailing out with this rise in the Delta variant. So let me know. I haven't checked out MegaCon, Fan Expo to see if some of the same is, but I did reach out to John Jang, who's supposed to be there, and he said that is the plan now, pending any kind of new crazy stuff coming up. Either trade or sell, yes, but I'm still sitting on it for a while. Okay, cool. So let's talk about some new comics, shall we? We've got Suicide Squad. This is one of the DC Black Labels. DC, I've really enjoyed most of the Black Label stuff that they do, especially when they put it in this bigger prestige format. Now, I don't like the fact that the bigger prestige format is just that, bigger. But I do like the prestige format in that it's a little better paper quality, and it seems like the stories are better quality. I can understand that the cuffs are taken off of them a little bit when it comes to storytelling because they don't have to stay inside of continuity. But DC as a whole is kind of throwing continuity out the window with this whole Omniverse deal that they're doing. But having said that, when it comes from the mind of Brian Azzarello, it's going to be weird. But one of the funny things in here is, so Amanda Waller puts together a Suicide Squad. Harley, Firefly, Jason Todd, who is the Red Hood, and several other ones they put together, and they're going to go after the Joker. I won't spoil the ending for you, but the funny thing about it was when Jason Todd's sitting there laying up in the jail cell, he's reminiscing over his time, and he said, look, I had a cool dad, I was a Robin, had a really fun time at that, but because a lot of other people didn't like me, I died. And, you know, of course, that's a tongue-in-cheek joke because that's how Jason Todd was killed in the comics. They had the toll-free number that you could call and say, hey, should he die or should he live? And everybody voted for him to die because we're kind of some kind of sickos, right? You know, that we want little kids to die. The Varangian Vigilante, what is going on, man? What's going on, Tyler? Picked up some cool books from Tyler over on Chris's or Cardboard Crazy's channel the other day when they were having their drive for cancer, which, by the way, as an aside, they've smashed that goal. So congratulations to them for smashing that goal over there and all the people that helped to make that possible, whether it was Spider-Man Booth who donated or provided the coupon code and the donations of the sales from that, or the people that were on the panel, great panel members and all that kind of stuff. And so they had a goal of 4,000. It was over $8,000. So again, congratulations to them. Did you pick up We Promised Utopia this week? No, I did not. Perry up in the house. What's up, Perry? How are you? Justin Birch, are you picking up the TMNT Power Ranger crossover action figures? I just picked up the it's actually what's mounting my camera here is why I haven't opened it yet. But the Steppenwolf, the large size Steppenwolf from McFarlane Toys, I just picked that up. And I haven't opened it yet. So we've got Star Wars The High Republic. So I have been kind of not totally sold. Every one of them's pre-order. And, you know, I've got to get better about doing that. Sleeping's like, action figures. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, I'm a McFarlane guy, but I do like the Transformer ones that they've been putting, Hasbro's been putting out, as well as, and Justin Birch, Sleeping, has lured me to the dark side and convinced me that all of my toys should breathe. I know that, Sleeping, you keep most of yours neatly packaged, and I still do for my like Star Wars Black Series stuff. Like here's Jackson the Bunny. I mean, it's just packaged so well that I haven't brought it out yet. But the rest of them, the Marvel Legends, the McFarlane figures actually breathe, but I keep my pops in the box. So, you know, it's whatever makes you happy. Lady Fantastic, another one of the Saturday morning cartoon crew. You can catch her here on Saturday morning at 1 p.m., but she's at work. So, shh, don't tell nobody. But she's also one of the channel members, so appreciate her for stopping by. This is one of those series that I was kind of not sold on. I've been picking it up because I like Star Wars. Star Wars is hot, but, you know, the story just wasn't really grabbing me. Having said that, I read this one, and it's starting to move in a direction I might can get on board with. So I'm glad because this is issue 7. I thought maybe I'll go to 10 and drop it off if it's not something that I want to keep up, but hashtag team out of the box. So this is a new one that I picked up, The Me You Love in the Darkness. So Scotty Young is writing this. I know Scotty Young did, I think, Middle West, maybe something else, or maybe doing Strange Academy. Neither one have I read. You know, normally Scotty Young is known for his chibi type artwork. But this is pretty interesting. It was kind of an interesting premise. This artist has kind of lost her mojo, kind of going through a lull, and she's gone out Midwest in this haunted house, and the ghost starts talking to her. How's that for a spoiler, non-spoiler? And so it's kind of interesting. So I'm going to pick up number 2 on it. C-List. What is up, C-List? How are you? Then we've got The Joker Presents a Puzzle Box. So we've got all of the villains, which interestingly enough, Catwoman is listed as one of the villains, you know, whereas and Harley for that matter, and in more recent iterations of both of those characters are more heroes / anti-villains, anti-heroes rather. But I guess if you're an anti-hero, you're also anti-villain. You know, if it's a half lie, it's a half truth too, right? Anyway, T-Pain, what's going on? T-Pain is going to be another one of the sellers for this Saturday's cartoon crew, so come check him out. But yeah, so this was kind of interesting. So basically, the Riddler's killed, and the Joker's blamed for it. And that's about as far as the first issue gets. The Joker's weaving his masterful yet crazy tale with Commissioner Gordon, but that's about as far as it gets. Originally, I did not want to pick these up because I was just not wanting to go off of that deep end, because this is a $6 book. But as I got deeper with these negative variants, negative covers, negative space covers with those colors and stuff, I just liked them. So I picked this one up too. Two of the stories in here from the old Mirage run, which I had both issues. One is more the IDW run, but they've been fun and the covers are pretty cool, so I've been picking those up. I believe this is a Jenny Frison cover, and I was willing to pay that extra $1 for a Jenny Frison cover. No, this is $4.99, which is their standard fare these days, I think, with DC. I had gotten off of the Batman Superman train when the Batman Who Laughs storyline went away. And every variant is negative for a while. Yes, the negative space that it talks about is the negative space that's in your wallet. Negative, as in less than 0. So I can fully agree with that. But I had gotten off when the Batman Who Laughs storyline had left, I got off of it. But Mark over at Legion of Comics, another one of the channel members, when Mark over at Legion of Comics had said, you want to get back in on this, I did, and I really like it. Unfortunately, all good things come to an end. Not all bad things, because there's a lot of comics I think that would fall under that bad things radar that seem to go on a lot longer than anybody really cares for them to. But it's been fun. It's been fun. So then we've got Power Rangers #9. So Boom, in selling a bunch of books, decided to split off the teams. You got the, I think, Omega Rangers that are out in space with Dakin, or Lord Draken, rather. Lord Draken. And so then you have Mighty Morphin, which is the more Earthside team. Mighty Morphin was a little too much like the Power Rangers. And if you're a Power Rangers fan, that kind of is like, oh, he's just on Power Rangers. Why is he even buying Power Rangers? Look, I didn't want to go hail back to the semi-cheesy Power Rangers storyline from back in the day. I'm okay with taking those characters and building on that. And so that's kind of what we did with Power Rangers. And so it's more of a Lost in Space type feel to it. And yes, Mark is a DC aficionado. And I will say that I have been buying way more DC than I'm used to. Some of that's because Batman has so many titles, and I've been picking them up. And to their credit, they've been good. You know, it's not been like one of these, okay, great, just another money grab type books. But no, they've actually been good storylines. But I have been picking up more DC overall. Emmanuel says, hey, everyone, my wife saw one of the Virgin variants and said it is a poster. No title? Yeah, it's like, oh, what's wrong with this book? I don't even see what it is. Yeah, and you know, on the Virgin variants, sometimes I go for them, and sometimes I'd rather the trade dress. And it's just, you know, depends on the day. Pretty much independent books only. Yeah. Well, that's whatever floats your boat. So on this Power Rangers title, Lord Draken, I know, is weaving some kind of master plan to get loose. He even talks to the Red Ranger in here and says, look, we get all this said and done. We save the world and we go to get out of here. You're going to let me go, right? And he's like, no, I'm taking you back. And he said, no, how about I fight you to get my freedom, because I'm not going back. So we know something's going to happen when all this gets wrapped up. But for now, they're hopping planet to planet. And it's been a fun read, so I've been keeping up with it. Forlom and Zuckuss. This has probably been the lamest, sounds really bad, but the most lackluster issue in this War of the Bounty Hunters deal. And I've been on with the War of Bounty Hunters because you got Boba Fett action, Star Wars action in it. But I knew that the longer they drag this out, the more one shots that they have in the middle of this, the more opportunity for lame additions to the deal. And that was for me. This one's probably my least favorite thus far. Zuckus Must Die. It was my least favorite, weakest edition of it thus far. So Star Wars 15. It was interesting how Luke, they have a similar situation where they want Luke to use the Force because he had done it with the Death Star, hit that one shot that saved the day, and he misses. And he misses because he's seeing another vision, and it's a vision of Vader going after Han Solo, which we know in the background that's what's happening. Of course, our crew is going after Han Solo, as well as Boba Fett is going after Han Solo. So we're going to have kind of a train wreck or a car pileup when it comes to finding over on Han. This is the Nice House on the Lake, number 3. I believe this is the variant cover to this. This is actually the only one that I saw. So this is probably like, and I guess every issue can't be, just super fire. So they put the fire on the cover because the fire's not inside the story. But basically, all these characters are just kind of coming to grips with where they're at. Hey, I'm stuck. This is my new life. Can I come to grips with it? And I think that's what Tinian is kind of laying out right now. That here's kind of the world, as it were. And this is kind of the background story of some of these characters and how they were connected to the guy, that the alien creature or whatever he is that put them all there and saved them, and kind of come to grips with, hey, this is where I'm having to stay at, and this is where I'm going to be for a while. Wolverine number 14. This is our legacy number 356. So Adam Kubert has been killing it. Ben Percy is the writer. There's some really cool splash pages in this book. Kind of a lackluster issue overall, but Ben Percy, which has in the past been writing X-Force and writing Wolverine currently, has been pretty spot on and been enjoying it. Robin number 4. So this was an interesting take on Ra's al Ghul, because at least for me, in thinking about Ra's al Ghul, I think about the other side of the coin when it comes to Batman. I mean, this guy, and he's immortal because of the Lazarus Pit. I mean, he's thinking through things. He's weaving this masterful plan, all these other kind of stuff. And in here, he's more of like an aged hippie grandpa. Not that I didn't necessarily like it, but it was just that he was more of a hipster grandpa. He talks to Damien and says, look, you're just like me. You're just like your mom. You're just like your dad. You got a little bit pieces of all of us. But what you have that we don't have, that's hindering you, that you are your greatest problem. You're your biggest enemy, which I guess we all are, right? You're your biggest enemy, and you're going to have to come to grips with that in order to be what you need to be. So Damien is on the prowl, and then the other Robins show up at the end. So that's kind of, oh, I am. I just noticed that. Huh. I don't know what the deal with that is. Not wanting to focus a little bit. But yeah, I would agree, Bubs. I would agree it is kind of an improvement. But yeah, it was an interesting read overall. I'm not the biggest, is that a word? Anyway, I'm not the biggest Damian Wayne fan, but I've been enjoying the Robin series. Josh Williamson writing it, done some good stuff with Flash. So yeah, just another series for DC to take my money. We got Infinite Frontier, number 3 of 6. Who is the new Black Lantern? I won't spoil it for you just in case you don't know. But the new Black Lantern is, of course, in here. And, yeah, I've been kind of enjoying this, but you can kind of see where they're going. And you knew it had to happen, right? there was not one ring to rule them all, one ring to bind them, right? It's always got to be a new crisis with DC. And so it's not going to stay where all of the universes are existing simultaneously and around each other, and they all know they're there and they're all okay with it. Just don't come on my planet, I won't come on your planet type deal. It is, we knew it wasn't going to stay that way. But yeah, we knew it wasn't going to stay that way, but they kind of allude to it in here that it's not going to stay that way, that so much so that Psycho Pirate and Barry Allen, and I'll give you that little teaser, are moving towards something else with that. I promise you that no kids were harmed in the filming of this video. All right, so we got Firepower, and I know that Firepower has been one of those series that, pardon the pun, been on fire, and then it just kind of went lackluster, and I haven't been really hearing as much about it as what I previously did. It did kind of lose some of its luster the last couple of issues, but I knew that they were kind of, landing the plane on one storyline, and I'm fixing to kill me some kids. Not really, YouTube. Don't worry about it. But anyways, so this is where it's kind of the plane's taking back off. So they were landing the story on one storyline and picking it up on the new one. And this is kind of where they that's right. So they're picking up with a new one. We find out about a little bit more about the snakes. The woman that he fought on the plane with snakes. It wasn't like a ripoff of Snakes on the Plane, I don't think. They find out a little bit more about that in this issue right here. That's been a fun read overall. Geiger #5. So I kind of wonder how long this series is going to last overall, just because knowing Jeff Johns' propensity to get behind on writing, I don't know. Yes, by all means. His propensity to get behind, him and Frank's are just killing it on the story and art. So basically the brother and sister, these people that rescued them, we find out that they didn't really rescue them. They kept them captive, and we find out something about this little boy. I won't spoil it for you if you have not read this book yet, but go check it out, Geiger. And they're fixing to set things on the first series. So their intent is to do more. If it's continues to sell well, I'm sure they will. How often do they come out, and do they come out like when they're supposed to? Who knows? So the last issue of Swamp Thing was kind of a lull. It ends with the Suicide Squad essentially dropping a nuke on Swamp Thing to go in there and then ferret him out. This is the Matina cover, I believe. It is the B cover. I thought it was the more fire cover, but this it's a pretty cool story. Ram V, whatever way you want to say it, is writing it, and it's been a fun read. I haven't known a lot about Swamp Thing in the past. This was recommended to me by John's Comics for Kids, No Good Comics, Legion of Comics, all as a good read. So I picked it up early on and been enjoying it thus far. Beta Ray Bill, the final final issue in this particular series. So he's got to fight Suitor, and we find out how he can defeat Suitor in this. He gets the sword there at the end. I will just say that as far as spoilers if you have not read it. Beta Ray Bill is a fun character to me. He's by far my favorite version of Thor, except maybe Throg. But, we've seen Beta Ray Bill a lot more than we have Throg. But at the end, we kind of see where things are being set up to use Beta Ray Bill in the future. Now, whether he comes out with his own series is probably dependent upon how well the miniseries did. But he is definitely going to be used again in some form or fashion, whether it's in the Thor that Donny Cates is writing or what. Now, X-Men 2. If you've been watching the channel, you know what kind of that I'm an X-Men fan. All right. So this comes from a fanboy. It does not come from somebody that just likes to poop on a character that they've never bothered to read. I have been vested in these people for quite some time. Most of these characters have been around since before I was born, and I've read them for an awful long time. So House of X, Powers of 10 are the series that got me back into collecting comics. I was reading comics before, either digitally or picking up a trade here or there. But collecting comics, House of X and Powers of 10 are what got me back into that. And so I like the idea of kind of a reset. Jonathan Hickman played it in such a way that it kind of made sense. So that was great. Okay. And had they stuck with Hickman's ultimate vision, which my understanding is Inferno, that's coming up, is basically where Hickman wanted to take things. They got derailed with Excalibur, and if the Varangian Vigilante is still in the chat, he can tell you that Teenie Howard knows how to spoil things. And so she did the swords crossover and all that. Just total garbage. The Hellfire Gala, total garbage. So when they come out with the new one, likes to poop on a character only after getting that's right. It's fair that way, right? So when they come out with the new X series, they relaunched the X-Men title, which was kind of interesting because I would have assumed that they would have went back to using the classic Uncanny X-Men title, but they didn't. And it didn't really matter. But this is X-Men Volume 5, I believe. I went all in on issues 1. I picked up the J. Scott Campbell negative space variant from Panda Awesome. That's heading its way to me. I picked up I picked up the Scotty Young. I picked up the connecting Young Guns variants that they had, the A cover. Picked up a bunch of them. Went all in, leaned in on it. I don't typically do that, but I did. And when I read the story was kind of because even though Jerry Duggan, who has been doing Savage Avengers, which I liked initially, I dropped this past issue. If you're reading Savage Avengers, tell me if I made a mistake in that. But I dropped it, and so I didn't keep it. I didn't read this latest issue that just came out. But he was also doing Marauders, which was hit or miss for me. One issue, fantastic. Next issue is like, why am I even wasting my time? And it went back and forth. He does X-Men 1, and he's actually doing a good job with it. It's very classic X-Men. The team is a little eclectic because it's different than what most of us are used to. Because if you think about it, you have like sets of characters. If you think about the OG team, the original team, then most of us probably think in terms of the Outback team, which is the Mark Silvestri years of X-Men, or the John Byrne team, who's a member of that, and you can kind of rattle that off, which is basically the giant size X-Men team, right? And then you have X-Men Blue and Gold, which is the team from the 90s. Then that's how, at least I think of X-Men teams. And so when you venture outside of that, adding one or taking away one's okay. That's not a big deal. If you think about Bishop was not an original member of the Gold team, but was later added a few issues in. That's one thing. But when you take a whole new cast of characters, that's something altogether different. And he has navigated that thus far. We're only 2 issues in, but thus far really well. And it seems like a classic X-Men read. Okay. And at the risk of spoilers, I want to tell you what I mean by that. So you think about Jean Grey, Cyclops, of course they make sense. Rogue has been a steady X-Men member for as long as anybody can remember, right? For whatever reason, they chose to use X-23, or as she refers to herself as Wolverine, instead of Logan Wolverine, and that's fine. Polaris, usually Polaris is accompanied by Havoc, but Havoc is actually in Hellions, which is strange. Sunfire has never been, and he probably will not stay on the team, but he has never been a long-standing team member. He was in Giant Size X-Men 1, left shortly after. He's just a hothead, pardon the pun, but he's a hothead and he doesn't like being told what to do. He has a part in this book where you kind of wonder if they're trying to change that. Should they? I don't know. But he's in here, as well as Sync, who hasn't been seen since the days of Generation X. Towards the end of that run, he died, and House of X brought him back. He was in going in the Children of the Vault. Him and Laura have a thing, and in here they kind of hint to where he wants to talk to her about that, because he survived coming back from the Children of the Vault. He died shortly after, but because of that, his memory is still there when they uploaded his memory in the new body. But with Laura Kinney, it's not there. So he wants to tell her about that. So they rescue this Kansas town from these big giant creatures. The fight, the interaction between them and how they took down the creatures was great. It's like classic X-Men. And then at the end of it, guess what? It wasn't all like, oh, you're mutants, or oh, you're humans, we're not going to talk to you, which is kind of where they've gone with X-Men. And that was some of my beef. I mean, a couple of story arcs is one thing, but taking the whole premise that now the X-Men think that they're better than everybody else. We've taken on the Magneto mentality of that they're homo superior, and therefore they're better, and we're going to stay on this island all by ourselves, and we're not going to try to intermingle with humans, and we're not going to try to convince them and show them where they're wrong, which has been Professor X's MO the whole time. It just didn't really set well with me. It didn't make any sense. This is an X-Men team that they voted in, and then the X-Men team is got their own treehouse there, and they're not in Krakoa. And so they rescue the people, and instead of the people having that animosity between them, or the mutants treating them like lesser people, they had barbecue after it was all said and done, which was kind of fun. Because again, it goes back to X-Men. You know, we're good guys. We were born different, but we're going to show you. We're not going to ram it down your throat. Which, aside from an aside here, is how most ideologies like to do these days. But back to the comics, it wasn't that. It's like, hey, I just rescued you because I've been gifted with more powers than you. I'm not going to hold it over your head, but this is what I do. And they're like, hey, it's great. You look human. You are human. Let's just sit down and have some barbecue. It was a fun issue. Jerry Duggan, please don't ruin this for me. All right, we got Hellions, number 14, Zeb Wells writing on Hellions. Hellions was the surprise title for me. It was one I didn't think I would like because of the cast of characters, or ones that I really have never been vested in, because most of them are non-canon X-Men characters. Most of them are villains, aside from Psylocke and Havoc, and I guess a little bit Wild Child. They're just not this cast. So they're fighting these people. Mr. Sinister is exposed to having killed them when they came back to Earth. Hey, no problem, who dat? But you know, killed them when they came back to Earth. He was exposed to that, and then he releases all his clones. It's been a fun read. Kind of getting the vibe that it might be coming to an end, but we'll see. So Stray Dogs and homage covers. Homage covers is one of my weaknesses. And so Stray Dogs has been coming out with these homage covers. If I can pick them up for cover or next to cover, that's one thing. But I just don't know that these books are going to hold the value that some of these people are selling them at. I mean, and people sell them and people buy them. It's certainly a legal and okay transaction. Just for me personally, I don't know that I feel okay paying $50 for a Stray Dogs book. But anyway. This is the Dracula homage. This is it the Witches of Eastwick? Am I thinking right? Or somebody in the chat, let me know. Who Dat Comics? Yes, Dallas Fan Expo's 100% hotel rooms, vacation from work, all done. Oh, okay, cool. I'm not sure which homage this is. If anybody knows, let me know in the chat or in the description below if you're watching this on the rewind. Immortal Hulk, another one that's coming to an end. I've been collecting the Alex Ross covers and the homage covers, which this time is an homage to the last McFarlane Amazing Spider-Man cover where Spidey nut punches Hulk. Interestingly enough, they changed the placement where his fist goes. So he's just like hitting him in the windpipe or something, you know. I guess they didn't want the nut punch. So Chariot, I've been picking up Moths, Chariot, American Ronin. There's a couple other ones I've picked up of AWA Upshot, which has been kind of a fun series. They're all mini series, and you just have to order them or go to a shop that's big enough to carry things that not everybody knows about. So Chariot has been optioned. It does have Knight Rider vibes, aside from the fact that Knight Rider in this case is a girl and she has a thing for her driver. Other than that, it's a Knight Rider vibe. And this comes to the end of the series right here. It looks like their plans to go forward with it. It has been optioned. I have all 5 series now. I probably, as Brian Edward Hill is writing it, I'm probably going to sell it, the whole set, to somebody. But it was a fun read. Promiscuous Time Traveler says, I feel the same way. It's so hard to not sell books at a higher price than Stray Dogs. But such a good series, but the reseller market is a little too over the top with the series. Yeah, I mean, look, if I sell you, it's $50. I'm not holding a gun to your head and saying you got to pay $50 for this. If I say $50 and you say, okay, I'll pay $50, well, then that's up to you, regardless of whether the book's worth $50 or not. It's worth $50 to you, the buyer in this example, and therefore it is a $50 book. I'm just saying, for me personally, what drives prices on comic books, or anything for that matter, but comic books is what we're talking about, is scarcity. So can you, in this case, say that they're scarce, the variants are scarce? I don't think so. And then the other thing is nostalgia. So there is a little bit of nostalgia for the cover, but not for the books, because this is a new series and the characters we don't have a vested lifelong interest in. The reason why Batman sells so much, because he's Batman, right? But he's Batman that's been around since the 1940s. And there's been multiple generations, multiple movies, multiple TV shows, cartoons, etc., that all these generations of people have come to know Batman. And they buy Batman for that reason. Same thing with Spider-Man, same thing with Hulk. That's why it's harder for newer books to reach the levels that some of these other books, even though especially if you're talking about 90s books, let's take like Deadpool as an example. Came out in New Mutants 98. That's not really a rare book, but there's less copies today printed of comics than there were back then. But still, I don't think the drive is there, because the other factor is the nostalgia factor, and you don't have a vested interest in Stray Dogs, and I don't know that you will. I talked to Tony Fleece and Tone Rodriguez. So Tony Fleece, he said, well, we're doing a couple more homage covers, and I told Image, and we're doing some prequel type stuff, one shot stuff with some of the dogs that are in there prior to them getting brought to the owner's house. He said, but other than that, I told Image we were done with it. So it's not going to be an ongoing series like a Batman or a Hulk or something like that. So at the end of the day, because even now prices are correcting on some of these books, especially some of the books like Amazing Spider-Man 361 or 300 that ran up pretty hard, pretty fast. You're starting to see some softening of prices. I don't think we're going to have a crash or anything like we did in the 90s, but I feel like there's a softening. So there's kind of a correction, and it'll go back up. How fast, I don't know, but it'll go back up from there. I just don't know that those have that staying power. What's interesting, though, is with Something's Killing the Children, because it's kind of got a different vibe to it. Because there were rumors, obviously, with Something's Killing the Children that there were going to be a movie, and it was going to be optioned. But the facts of that didn't come out till much later, after it had run its course. And number one's like over $1,000 book, right? And even some of the other issues are pretty heftily sought out. The Frizen covers and that type of thing, they're pretty heavily sought out. And it is a good series. and the art's pretty killer as well, pardon the pun. But it has seemed to have taken on a life of its own. Time will tell if that remains the case. But a lot of this other stuff has been driven by movie news and spec news, and speculation can drive it as long as it continues to have gas. Once the speculation runs out of gas, it sits on the side of the road. It stops very abruptly when it runs out of gas. The vehicle does. So Walking Dead number 20. Been picking up the Finch covers. I don't think you wish, Bubs. You wish. But so yeah, the Walking Dead. I don't think there was a Finch cover for the last one, and I got a Liefeld one. But this I got the Frozen. Got me talking about Frozen now. The Finch cover on this one. Been a fun series for me. Not just because it's color versus black and white before, because I didn't get into the other one before, and so picking it up in this format is pretty fun. And in talking about Something's Killing the Children, we've got Something is Killing the Children. Those dang children always dying. So this is issue number 18. So we're continuing the origin story of Erica Slaughter, continuing that origin story, and we're finding out a little more about the totem, the little octopus that we've seen and it become animated at times, how that is and why that is, and we're finding out more about it towards the end of this issue right here. And now they're going to have its own spinoff, which is interesting. Or rather, it will be interesting. And if anybody in the chat knows, is Tiny writing the House of Slaughter too, or is it somebody else writing that one? Because you got to think at some point, it's like you cannot write this many books at one time. One person only has so many ideas at any one given time. But with the House of Slaughter, it's a spinoff, but it'll be interesting to see if it maintains the same weight and the same speed as what the others do. I went ahead and ordered some books the other day. There was a Star Wars Insider, and I've got to get better. Something is boring the reader. There was a I've got to get better about pre-ordering stuff, especially now that my favorite, because these right here I bought from the other comic shop, the one I have to hold my nose to go into just because I don't like their pricing practices. But I was 2 weeks without comics, so I was having the shakes, so I had to do something. So I just held my nose. So I've got to get better about pre-ordering comics, especially like toys, because pre-ordering toys has been I've been missing out on ones I want to get. But talking about pre-ordering comics, I ordered a Star Wars Insider glow in the dark cover with Yoda, pretty sick looking. And while I was on there, because they give you so much, like free shipping if you order so much, so I ordered the glow in the dark Yoda, and I ordered a House of Slaughter, one of the variants for that, maybe two of the variants for that. Tapia's family, Unlimited Comics, what is going on? How are you doing? So yeah, so that, as you can see, now some of these were from last week because again I didn't have any new comic book day pickups last week, and so I had 2 weeks worth. So I did want to show this, which I showed in a separate video, but I've got these like right here. So if you are interested, I do still have some of the regular cover. Not the slab signed ones, as you can see, these are slabbed and signed, where I signed it on the back here. But I've got some of the regular covers, and all are just as crispy clean as all these that came back 9/8. If you're interested in a raw copy, it's $15 plus shipping. Hit me up over on IG if you're interested in that right there. Also, if you're interested in saving money and you want to order some supplies, for your comics, your cards, your newspapers, coins, etc., visit bcwsupplies.com. Use the coupon code SCG at checkout to save yourself 10% on the order. And if you can't remember all that, there is a link in the description below. This might be a better show of one of the raw copies of that. Also, tomorrow, if you hit that bell notification, and if you're following me over on Southern Comic Geek, all one word, at Instagram, you'll see when I announce that I will be going live tomorrow to give away last month's giveaways, which are the Ultimate Fallout 4s, the second prints, but the A and the B cover, and both are 9.4s with the Miles Morales label on those. So I'll be giving those away tomorrow. I hate saving money. Sure, we all do, bub. Also wanted to again shout out the channel members, those people who are having the benefit of supporting the channel, and for that I give them back in the way of the giveaways, the emojis, and some other stuff that we do throughout the month. What's up, Nosh? How is it going? How are you doing? Nosh, one of the biggest watchers of the videos. Usually I'm doing videos while he's working, so he's not able to show up live, but he's always commenting on the videos, and appreciate that. There was something else I was going to mention. Oh, so if you hit that bell notification, you won't miss that. But if YouTube doesn't do its job, check me out on Instagram, and I'll be announcing when I'm going to go live on that tomorrow. And I'll probably end up giving away some more stuff tomorrow. You know how those things go. And if you're on the Whatnot app and you haven't already, open up that app and follow me as Southern Comic Geek, all one word. I've been doing some auctioning over on the Whatnot app to go along with the Saturday morning cartoon crew, which is at 1 p.m. Central Time on this channel. Very tired. What? You can rectify that, bub. You can rectify that. If you don't see your name there, there's a surefire way to get to see your name there. And that's to hit that little button that says join. Or you can click on the link in the description and join the Patreon and or the YouTube. So, and you can make that happen. And I'll even bold your name, like BUB'S Comics. So, having said that, I do appreciate all of you that are hanging out with us today. Those of you who dropped the super chats, your name will be entered to win on the August giveaway, which I'll be announcing shortly what that is going to be, and all of that kind of good stuff. Hopefully everybody is doing well out there. Stay safe with all these crazy join and be rectified. Yes, anything is possible. Anything is possible, Bubs. But yeah, so do appreciate you. If you have not already, go ahead and drop the hammer down on that like and that subscribe button. And well, until next time, keep reading and keep collecting. Adios.